On another episode of the Animation Deliberation podcast, we are getting green in Gotham as we talk about Harley Quinn, Season 3, Episode 9, Climax at Jazzapajizza, and much more after that we have no control over.
Sing along if you know the words. A 1, 2, 3, it's time for animation, deliberation, a conversation and a celebration of our favorite action animated series, yeah.
Yeah, welcome back to another episode of Animation Deliberation, where we take action animations and cartoons seriously, but not too seriously. We are your hosts. I am Zuhair.
And I am Andrew Rogers.
Andrew, we are one episode away from the finale of Harley Quinn.
Yes. I missed last week, but that was a really good episode to kind of launch us into this little finale chunk. So it's rounding out pretty nicely, in my opinion.
It was probably the first episode that really tied all the multiple plots in, all the stuff with the green and making New Eden,
and the
all
pasta
the
maker
stuff with Bruce being potentially an antagonist, and then Joker running as mayor. I think this is the first episode that really tied all of that stuff together.
Yeah, no, it was much better, and it answered a lot of the complaints that we have had throughout the season. As much as we've been a little harsh on it, they really have brought their A game in these last two episodes, the one previous to this and this, of just giving us plot, giving us action, giving us these characters that we know they can do good things with. So I really, really liked what they had going on.
I still think that last week holds the title of the best episode the season has done so far. I think this one kind of went back into being more comical with a little hint of story progression. But, it's still doing pretty good for the season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't here to be able to talk about it, but that was just a good episode of any DC animated thing. Yes, it's a little bit of the nostalgia because they were doing all of those callbacks to Batman the Animated Series and the movies and all those other things. But it was just great plot, great driving that story forward, that they did so much in that last episode. It may even be one of the best of the series as a whole. So I wouldn't have expected them to beat that this week, but they still did a really good job. Like I said, and it gave us a lot of, interesting points that I wasn't totally expecting, but we had talked about are we getting into spoilers at this point?
You can finish your thought and then we can give the climax and go from there. Climax, synopsis. Yeah. I know my words.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was like, wow, that's a interesting word to pick. But yeah, no, I was just going to say this kind of Ivy villain turn that we get throughout the story of this episode. It was interesting, it was thorough, and it was something different, because that zombie jump at the end of the last one, I didn't know where we were going to go and how that was going to play out. So it was interesting.
Yeah, so to give a rundown for the whole episode, Episode 9, Frank's powers awaken every corpse in Gotham City, resulting in a zombie apocalypse. While Bruce is distracted with the return of his zombie parents, Harley, Batgirl, and Nightwing work together to stop the apocalypse. Ivy is able to control the zombies through the green, but after realizing she could use them to terraform the city, she decides to do so, turning the citizens into living plants. At Wayne Manor, King Shark helps Bruce realize his mistakes and deal with his parents' death, while Ivy announces her plan to Gotham at Jazzapajizza Jazz Festival. Seeing how dangerous her plan really is, Harley tries to talk Ivy down, but is unable to hurt her feelings after Ivy thanking her all her support. However, when Harley saves Bane and is infected by a zombie, Ivy is forced to reverse everything to save her life. Though happy for Harley's safety, she becomes embittered about sacrificing her dream.
Well, Wikipedia has its faults, but credit to you for getting Jazzapajizza correct every single time, because going into this episode, I was like, how are we not going to flub that at some point?
Yeah, I may have reversed that a few times before we started recording. Sitting at my desk is going Jazzapajizza. I could say it one time properly. Don't get me to do it more than once altogether.
Oh no, when I was getting prepared, I did the same thing, and I sounded like Nemo trying to say anemone at some point, just like, Well,
I do have to say, I think King Shark is my favorite character in the show. That whole, just him subtly being a king is really funny. Like, especially last week, he was like, screw this, and just walked out, and like his entourage was just there waiting for them to take him to his kingdom, and now he's just like casually on his throne, putting back the hoodie and the shorts. It's like, yeah, I got you. Let me go help out for a little bit. But him, like, we're seeing so much of Harley being the full therapist that him just being like that buddy that's very straightforward with you. It's just like, hey man, you got to do better. It's so wholesome, and for him to talk to Bruce like that, I loved every bit of that
Yeah,
engagement.
he has that understanding of like, hey, I've gone through the same thing. My dad died and I haven't been the same this year. Ooh, wait, 30 years? That's a little much. Like, still being very real whilst trying to understand what's going on. It's just, yeah, he's that wholesome friend that you could talk to about basically any problem, and like, he's gonna make sure to take care of you. He's a wholesome welcome shark for sure.
And I had to kill another one of my brothers.
I mean, yeah, just keep his blood sugar up, and then he's the wholesome friend. When that blood sugar dips down, then you don't know. But also, apparently, video games help the stress. So he's just, I can embody with this kind of a personality for sure.
And I definitely support playing video games instead of fulfilling your responsibilities.
I mean, that's just what we do around here. But yeah, when we talk about the side characters, definitely got their time to shine a little bit. Clayface less so, but like finally seeing Nightwing and Batgirl come back around and get there once more. Like, okay, we got to jump into action. We have to pretend not to know that Bruce is Batman, and then just finally give in after plenty of jokes and beating around the bush. They're like, okay, let's do this. I don't know how Nightwing got stuck with the macaroni cycle, but here we are. Like,
Where was the Batmobile at this point? And why did Harley have the Bat wing?
well, that's what I was
That
like.
seemed like a
Nightwing,
very poor choice.
yeah, Nightwing on a bicycle. Harley gets the Batwing. How did we get here? Where is Damian at? Like,
He's playing video games.
he's just playing more video games. He's a moody teenager.
When Bruce said to his parents, it's like, teenagers, you know how it. Oh, no, you don't. You died when I was 8. But they were like,
As though he hasn't been a moody teenager this entire time. But
no one's
like,
been there to talk him out of it, apparently.
I mean, Alpha tries, but we know how much that fails. The parents were just such a weird, like, why they weren't rabid and just doing whatever they're gonna do. And I think ate the cat named after himself. Like, there's a lot of weirdness going on with that.
A little bit.
Little.
It is cute that his parents loved him so much that they weren't possessed by Ivy and just kept following him around.
Oh, I didn't even think of it. I was like, why are they just there? That's a much better explanation. But also, we talk about King Shark's wholesomeness and the fact that he was like, you don't have to kill him. Let me take care of this. He's like, wait, you'd really do that for me? He's like, yeah, I don't want you to go through this. So yes, let's skip the next 30 years of trauma about you having to re-kill your parents.
It's like, you're not going to want to look at this.
And you might want to cover your ears.
What was the dialogue for our Nightwing when Harley was just like, he's not going to love you? Because he's just being such a kiss ass about Batman.
Yeah,
just
he
being
kept
like a
trying
great
to
hero
do
and
it.
everything.
Oh my gosh, that was, and it is quintessential. Like him as the first Robin, there's so many of those early things where he's just trying to defend what Batman's about, and it's just the serious, like, need someone to love me issues that all of the Bat kids have.
Yeah. I love Batgirl in this. Like, as excited as I was for Nightwing, I think she's been my favorite thing out of the Bat family this season.
Oh, for sure. I had lofty expectations for what they were going to do with Nightwing, so I'm not necessarily surprised that they weren't totally met, but Batgirl has just been been a really good caricature of the comic character without being too over the top. And like, that's almost why I don't want them to touch Red Hood, because I'm really curious what jokes they can make, but also I don't know if they're going to make him too dark and moody and like angsty teen. So they have a lot of fine lines that they play with, but I think Batgirl has landed on the positive side of that fine line for sure.
I was wondering if any dialogue about Jason was going to come up when they were mentioning how much that they don't kill people or use guns. Like, apparently, there's certain situations, but
Yeah, I mean, we don't know where in the story this is. He might not have, come back
there was
yet.
already a bit about that. There was a bit about Joker killing.
Well, yeah, there was the bit of him in the alley. So yeah, I don't know, but like, it's so weird because there's so many different iterations of how or why he returns. So we're getting a season 4. I don't know if you guys talked about that last week, but they
Yep,
confirmed a season 4. So who knows? Maybe we will be getting some Todd in our life.
it sure is plausible. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and we'll jump into Ivy's villain turn a little bit more here. I just want to say I adore the comic accurate outfit that they decided to animate her with.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that it's just Poison Ivy's a very interesting character because there's a lot of question of the over sexualized nature, like very early on, with the way that it was just, oh, I attract men to do my bidding. And a lot of the early costumes were just leaves covering specific places, similar to like Eve in the Garden of Eden and a lot of those artistic works. This was a very tasteful version of the let's use the leaves to make like a jumpsuit and
Mm-hmm.
the I can't remember what the heel is called. Cat
I was
heel?
about to say,
Kitten
was it
heel?
comic accurate down to the heels?
I don't know about down to the heels, but like they have gotten better with doing some of those outfits. And like this
Ivy,
one was
you
just
look
another
hot.
great one. Well, I mean, yeah, and that's perfect because it's like she looks hot without it being over the top, like
Yeah.
a great instance of that. As much as I love that costume as well, the one from the Arkham video games is so over sexualized.
Mm-hmm. And
So
that's
like
one of
this
the
was a
things
nice
about
middle
Poison
ground.
Ivy as a character too, where like it, the concept of it makes sense. Like she's actually using biology to sway men to like get what she needs done.
Right.
So you can have that demeanor and that presence without having to really look the part if you're using the science to do it. And she
Yeah.
looks great. She looks great. And I think the way that the character design in here really does look great in all its iterations. Like even Harley having the picture of her, like, with her hair all jacked up and like her hand trying to go into the camera and all that stuff. It really does come down to like the chemistry of the character and what you're trying to portray. And then the powers and all that stuff just makes sense depending on how you put it out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, the only thing that I was hoping we got to see out of Ivy that we didn't was like when Bane was going to turn into a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for it to be like a parallel to the God, I think it was Batman and Robin movie, or was it Batman Returns, where Poison Ivy like controlled Bane and he was just the big muscle monster the whole time. I was just like, oh, what jokes are they going to have prepared to make fun of how weird that movie was the whole time? But
I'm glad you mentioned
alas,
that
she
because
saved it.
his appearance felt kind of forced to me because I was just so confused. Like, where did he come from? Like, why does he need to be here right now?
Yeah,
Oh, you
like,
saved me, Harley. It's like, yeah, it's totally for you.
and that's what I was gonna say. I joked about, oh, the continuity. The pasta maker came back. He's finally, getting over it a little bit, but then he doesn't because he sees it on sale. Like, I agree, it felt forced, but also I just want the resolution of this pasta maker. I
I
need to
felt attacked
know.
in that moment.
Why did you feel attacked?
I don't need it. I don't need it. It's on sale. Ah,
Uh,
I don't need any more Funkos.
yeah,
Totally
no,
need more
that's
Funkos.
you always need more Funkos. But yeah, then I will say it almost felt rushed though. The end of this episode that Harley sacrificed herself and then Ivy flipped the switch. Like I was expecting the episode to end with Harley sacrificing herself and then the aftermath of how that affects Ivy to be the next episode.
I mean, it still kind of is.
Like I think it's going to be I guess I was expecting the emotional fallout sort of thing of like why did you do that? And I had to bring you back whereas I don't know. I know it's going to pay off. because it goes into this conversation that we've had many a time of finales are to set up the next season. The penultimate is to end this season. So this did
Mhm.
a good job of it, kind of put a bow on this season. Now we get to see what they're setting up for the next round. But it just felt a little shoved in. Okay, we're done now. The zombies are gone.
Yeah, I could see that. It's one of those things where it's like I feel like the show has been so all over the place that it doesn't bother me that it wrapped up that quick. Because also, like, how far do you go with that? I was also wondering if like Court of Owls was going to get like re-involved because like their original story had so much to do with zombies and bringing like the big shots of
Yes.
Gotham, uh, their like immortality and stuff like that. So I was wondering if that was going to play back in, but then I remember what they did with the Court of Owls, and it's like, I'm not sure if they're actually
I
interested in that
wonder.
storyline at all. So it seems like with how much we were focusing on Harley, Ivy, and the Bat family for this one, there is going to be a fallout that's going to be more focused on our main villain crew of Harley, Ivy, King Shark, Psycho, and Clayface. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like they're going to push the Bat family aside and like wrap up the season with just the villains.
Yeah, I mean, they also could very easily put like Bat Family causes them to go on the run, because I doubt they're just going to be like, Ivy, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have tried to destroy all of Gotham except for the pasta place. So I could also very much see them continuing that through line of like, okay, now they're on the run again from the law because of what Ivy did.
I just gotta say, between that pasta place and there being spaghetti on Hard Knocks last night, I really want pasta.
I've seen some really
It's a
good pasta
very important
recipes
thing for all
lately.
of our listeners to know.
Yes, you need to know the inner workings of our minds when it comes to what food we want
And our appetites. Oy.
and our appetites.
Yeah, I'm not
But
sure if I have much more to say about this episode. It was just kind of, it was what it was.
yeah, it was good for sure. But like, I agree, I don't have that many like hardcore insights as to what happened. I will say, I talk about it all the time. The music for this episode really stood out to me, of like the very heroic overtones that has been hiding in the Harley Quinn theme this whole time. So when it was her in the Batwing and the Bat family fighting, and you had that just major theme that they've had throughout the entirety of the show, it did a really good job of kind of having those heroic feeling moments without being anything extravagant besides, the Bat family just kicking butt like they always do.
Yeah. Well, hats off for music. Speaking of really great insights for the listeners, if you have any, you know how to email us, you know how to get in touch with us. So let us know because we'd love to hear from you of what you thought of this episode and anything else out there in the animated world.
Yeah, because this is our finale coming up this week, and then we have some schedules that we've started to try and put together of stuff that's going on in the future. So we're really excited for what else is to come. I know Cars on the Road premiered today. I'm not sure if we're actually going to cover that or not,
Oh,
but
did
we
it?
got some yeah, because today is Disney Plus Day as of recording this. So inside baseball for the listeners, it is Thursday, the 8th. So I believe we had that come out, and then there's a bunch of stuff coming out in October. So I'm excited because it means we're going to have plenty to watch, but also that means we're going to have to decide what we're talking about. But
My hero, my hero, my hero, my hero. I've already started my rewatch. I just freaking love this show so much. I don't care who's with me. I don't care if nobody joins me. That show will be covered every week.
very
I've
funny.
said it.
Very funny that you think that I am not with you till the end of this road, because it went from a Zuhair recommended show to it is on my Mount Rushmore. So it is fully transcended to greatness in my eyes. So I'm so excited for that.
My hero.
I mean, if you also want to tide yourself over, I do have some wholesome recommendations of stuff going on right now as well.
Bring it on to the listeners. I doubt I'll have time to get started on it, but they're good to know.
It's fair. I started and finished everything that's currently out, because I think 8 episodes are out at this point. It is called Parallel World Pharmacy, and it's like Full Metal Alchemist adjacent in like chemical magic kind of thing going on, but it's basically like, I know it's going to kind of turn into this battle anime, but the first 8 episodes have just been wholesome. How do we set up a pharmacy in this fantasy world? And it's just been a ton of fun to watch, and it's currently ongoing. So that's why, like I said, things are going to get busy because it's going to start being weekly releases of that, weekly releases of My Hero. Spy Family starts on October 1st, weekly again as well. So yeah,
I think Blue Lock is my most anticipated anime that is new.
Blue Lock.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the soccer related one.
Oh, soccer. I mean, I think Chainsaw Man's probably got my attention for biggest new thing coming soon.
Yeah. Again, I'm intrigued with that because it's Mappa.
Yeah, I know Mappa's gonna kill it. That's like, I'm excited more for the animation than I think I am for the story. Like, I think the story is gonna be good, but the animation just looks like it's gonna be off the charts.
And I bring it back up, listeners, if there's anything you're looking forward to. Because, oh my god, the year is like 2/3 of the way done.
Yeah, it's September, my friend.
It is. Lots to watch in this chilly weather upcoming, along with football.
What is chilly weather? I don't know what that is anymore.
All right. West Coast sellouts.
West Coast is dying in the worst heat wave that has been in a while.
Yeah, enjoy it. I will have 30 degrees soon. Not that I like 30 degrees. 50s are pretty pleasant. Comfy hoodie weather.
We're getting off track, though. We're talking about the weather at this point.
That's it for me. Keep an eye out for all the anime, for all the news, for all the interviews. Plenty of stuff to talk about, and we can't wait to have you guys join us with it. So with that, make sure you tune in next time, and as always, stay whelmed.
Until the finale, muscle.
Thank you for listening to the Animation Deliberation Podcast, a proud member of the Stranded Panda Network. If you would like to contact us, you can email animationdeliberationpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter @animationdelib1. For this and other great shows, you can visit strandedpanda.com or join the great community that is the Stranded Panda Chat Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/svchat. Tune in next time, and remember, stay whelmed.